Hey, got some good news for you. We've been analysing the pace compared to our rivals, and it looks like we'll be very competitive. Keep up the good work.
Hello everyone and welcome to F1 2016 Career Mode. We're here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Is it part 28 now? We are rattling through this season. We're almost halfway through it in fact, and there's only a few races to go before we hit the British Grand Prix, where we should get some contract offers for the first time in our Career Mode. But that's a few episodes down the line. We're here at the Canadian Grand Prix. If you have missed any episodes so far, do go and check out the series playlist. It'll be in one of the cards in the top right hand corner to catch up on the story and the season so far. Mercedes and Force India have brought some upgrades to this race, especially Force India, of course, who are in a bit of a... They're ahead of Williams, I believe, in the constructors' standings, despite the fact they're not... They're behind them in the performance index. So that's an interesting battle that is shaping up between Williams and Force India. There's the performance index for you now. We've got a few resource points to spend, so we might spend them at the end of the race. We'll accumulate what we can get, and it will give us something to play with going into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in the next episode. Here are the resource points we gained in practice. Sorry, in practice, so we're up to 1600. But here are our qualifying goals for this Canadian Grand Prix.
Hi, it's Emma. Your qualifying goals came up in the board meeting this morning. Here's what to expect.
So there we go. Second or higher, beat Raikkonen and beat Ricciardo. Literally pretty much the same every single week. But doesn't matter. It's the when you're fighting for a championship, this is what you should be aiming for. But qualifying's been tricky for us, so we'll see how it goes. I'll now send you over to Crofty for qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix.
Hello and welcome from the circuit Gilles, Villeneuve, home to the Canadian Grand Prix for today's qualifying session.
So here we are in qualifying 2. We're about to start our one and only lap in qualifying 2. We got through Q1 on the Ultra Softs, fine as you like. I didn't bother going to qualify on the Super Softs. I remember from last year we just didn't have the pace to do it. And the pace here is a bit hit and miss. In practice it was really good. Well, I say really good, it was decent for practice pace. And the tyre wear test, we actually passed it for the first time since Hockenheim last season. Qualifying pace was a bit hit and miss as well, but we go P6 in the session, 1.1 seconds off Ricciardo, who qualifies on the super soft compound tyre. We're marginally quicker than Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas, who are both on the super soft as well. I believe it wasn't the best of laps though. I don't think I had a completely clean lap. Slightly pushing a little bit too hard. The Ultra Softs, I've noticed it on this game, they're a tyre that can take a while to properly switch on, which can be annoying because the degradation on them is actually quite high. Here we are in Quali 3, coming to the end of our first run, and we're going straight on for a second run because rain is predicted for the end of the session. So we're not going to bother with our usual tack of using our Q1 tyres first and then use the Q3 set, because as I said, the Ultra Softs take a while to turn on. Like in qualifying 1, we had to do 2 runs back to back like we're doing now, and that's how we got a decent time in Quali 1, but we didn't do that in Quali 2 to save the tyre wear. Here we are at the end of our lap, messing up the final chicane quite badly, and we've lost a couple of tenths actually as we come across the line. It does put us P2, 2 tenths behind Daniel Ricciardo, but we actually finish in P3 because Sebastian Vettel beats us by 1/100th of a second. And we miss out on the front row. Making that mistake into the final chicane really did cost us, and we were only just quicker than Kimi Raikkonen, our rival. Literally, only marginally quicker, but as Hulkenberg there, 5th with a 1:12 dead. So not very often you see a 0-0-0 at the end of a time, but Ricciardo takes pole position yet again for the 6th time out of 7 races. Only Red Bull have taken pole positions this year. Interesting fact to note. We stopped Ricciardo's run in Monaco, but we weren't able to continue our run, and Ricciardo is back on pole position. As you can see there, Hulkenberg clearly the standout performer, although those new updates on the Force India must be working well. Only 6 tenths off pole position, so Force India looking very competitive here this weekend. Here are the resource points we got then from qualifying. Nothing too bad. Rivalry. Here's the interesting one because we start afresh with the rivalry, and we lead it, just. I'm a bit surprised about the Sector 3 time, because we've been the quickest car in Sector 3 all weekend, so a bit disappointing that our final run in Q3 meant that we didn't get a purple Sector 3, but not the end of the world. As I said, the final chicane is where we lost our time. Not great driver position, but here are our race goals.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So, bog standard, really. Beat Ricciardo, beat Raikkonen, finish second or higher, and be third or higher in the Drivers' Championship. We are leading the Drivers' Championship by 16 points, so we should pass that one quite comfortably, to be honest. But yes, Canadian Grand Prix. We won last time out in Monaco. It wasn't an easy win. We had a lot of problems with the car towards the end, so hopefully we can put up a bit of a better fight for the win here this time without any car problems. But I will now send you to Stephen Hayes for your commentary for the Canadian Grand Prix.
Welcome to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve and the Canadian Grand Prix. Named after the iconic driver Gilles Villeneuve, this 2.7 mile circuit, situated on the Notre Dame Island in Montreal, has been a mainstay of the Formula One World Championship since 1978. The unique blend of twists and turns has seen its fair share of drama over the years, with the wall on the exit of the final bend being nicknamed the Wall of Champions in 1999 because it retired 3 world champions from the race that day, including Gilles' son, Jack. In recent years, the Canadian Grand Prix is recognised as holding the longest race at 6 hours, where adverse weather conditions saw Great Britain's Jenson Button claim the victory on the last lap, battling from last twice and surviving contact from both Hamilton and Alonso. It's a big day for Callum Byrne. A difficult win last time out at Monaco, but a win nonetheless has seen Byrne take the lead of the World Championship from teammate Daniel Ricciardo by 16 points. That could all change here at Canada though, because in qualifying it was the Australian who stormed to pole position. Ferrari are on form too. They may not have the legs in the race, but on 1 lap pace Sebastian Vettel has managed to split the Red Bulls. If either Ferrari gets a good start, they could change the direction of this year's Drivers' Championship. But what of Mercedes? Team principal Toto Wolff must be really feeling the pressure as his 2 drivers qualified poorly yet again. Mercedes really need to find some form and find it fast if they're to mount a credible challenge this year.
We need to be doing better than this. Let's push hard.
So to the grid, and it's the former teammates of Ricciardo and Vettel who take the front row, with their current teammates of Byrne and Raikkonen on the second. Nico Hülkenberg drove a truly committed lap to take 5th on the grid ahead of both Mercedes drivers, with Felipe Massa in the Williams joining Hamilton on the 4th row. Bottas keeps pace with Massa in 9th, and Perez, unable to match his teammate, rounds out the top 10. Alonso and Grosjean will both be looking to move forward from the 6th row, with last year's winner Kvyat joined by Button on the 7th row. It's the ever-improving Manners on the 8th row, with Verline leading the way from Haryanto. And woeful qualifying from both Sainz and Gutierrez sees each of them partner a Renault on the 9th and 10th rows. Renault of course without a point this season. And at the back, Ericsson leads Nasser on the last row. The drought at Sauber continues. The team haven't scored a point since Ericsson's podium at Monaco last season. So let's go to track with your in-race commentator, Callum Byrne.
So here we are on the grid of the Canadian Grand Prix. Looks like it's going to be a 1-stop according to the recommended strategy, although the personalised one says a 2-stop. It was a 2-stop last year. We went ultras, softs and then supers to end. So we'll see how it goes this year. As I said, the practice tyre wear wasn't too bad. We actually passed it, as I said, for the first time since Hockenheim. So maybe we've turned a corner with our tyre wear. Slightly different setup to last year, especially with tyre pressures and things. So hopefully we're looking after those tyres a little bit more. But here we are at the end of the formation now. We got overtaken by a couple of cars going down the back straight, but we're just going to line up into our grid slot now. So Vettel and Ricciardo, as I said, have been waiting on the grid for quite a long time, so hopefully our tyres will be a lot better. Remember, Ricciardo starts on the super softs today. We've got 5 red lights here in Montreal, and away we go. And we've had a decent, we've had a lightning launch off the line. We've got past Sebastian Vettel, and we've got the inside line and our teammate into turn 1, and we take the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix. And hopefully now we can pull away. We're on the ultra soft tyre. Ricciardo's on the super softs, and if we can just use this stint to maybe pull a bit of a gap to Ricciardo, maybe we will just be able to make our strategy work today if Ricciardo is planning on doing one less stop. But it's going to be tough. I know that much. Ricciardo, of course, will feel avenged. He didn't win this race last year due to an engine failure, and this is one that he'll want to win. Remember, he took his first ever Grand Prix victory here in 2014, and we haven't won here yet, and it's a track that we love. So hopefully we can fight for that victory here today. But it's already we're having to go a little bit defensive from Daniel Ricciardo, who is on the prowl, on the hunt, trying to get the lead of this race back. Of course, because he needs to catch us up in the Drivers' Championship, as we do lead by 16 points after that poor race for Daniel Ricciardo in Monaco after the undercut didn't work for him. Here's a replay then of the start, and we're going to see a lightning launch from myself and Kimi Räikkönen, and there's a fast starting Mercedes. I think that's Lewis Hamilton yeah, it is Lewis Hamilton. As into turn 1 we go. We were easily able to dive bomb Ricciardo. We had such a good launch that he wasn't able to cut us off in time, or he was too late. Here's the onboard of Sebastian Vettel, and we'll get a good view actually of us going up the inside of Ricciardo. He left us just about enough space, did Ricciardo, but we managed to get it slowed down enough, and we took the lead. Here's the onboard from Nico Hülkenberg, who started in P5. Not the best of launch. Don't worry about Raikkonen's tyres there. He is on the ultra softs, just a replay camera glitch. As Hamilton dive bombed him up the inside and then hung it around the outside. A little bit of contact with Raikkonen and Hamilton as Hülkenberg was in a bit of a sandwich there. And here is the onboard from the fast starting Lewis Hamilton. Got his first podium of the season in Monaco last week. And as you can see, cuts the corner a little bit. He's been following our lines, I think, as Lewis Hamilton. As there's the hit from Hülkenberg. But Hamilton already up into P4 in this race, so it's a good start for Lewis Hamilton. Have Mercedes have they started to turn a corner on their development now? As we've got 30 laps to go in this race, as we're already on the defensive now from Daniel Ricciardo. DRS has been enabled now because we are coming to the end of the 5th lap as he tries it around the outside of the final chicane where the Wall of Champions is, but no can do. There's not letting him go around the outside of us there, as we are on lap 6 now, coming through the middle sector. Now we've had a bit of a bad run out of the chicane, and we're having to defend now quite heavily as we come into this section now, as Ricciardo is all over us. Us, Ricciardo and Vettel have all pulled away from Hamilton and co, so we're having to defend. As Ricciardo goes up the inside, caught us napping completely, and gets up the inside of the hairpin, as I think we made contact with Sebastian Vettel. We tried a wider line to straighten the car a bit better and get better traction, but we made contact with Vettel, and that's compromised our run down this long back straight, and we didn't get the DRS either. And Ricciardo has played his cards right beautifully. Fair play, Daniel, and that's really frustrating for us because he's on the super soft tyre. Our pace has just fallen away. I don't know what it was. The ultra softs were fine for a few laps, and they just fell away. As here's Ricciardo at the chicane trying to go around the outside. It didn't quite work out, and this is the moment he almost got done by Vettel, and he didn't. And that was the moment really where our opportunity fell away, as he's now on the back of us, and he literally just catches us napping. There's no gap on the inside, and he forces a gap, and by the time we realised he was going up the inside, it was way too late, and he makes the move stick. And as you can see, you can't really see that, but we do make contact with Sebastian Vettel. As here we go, here's Ricciardo going up the inside. As you can see, we try a wider line to get the cutback and get better traction, but we just tag the front nose cone of Sebastian Vettel. It wasn't the front wing we hit, it was just the elongated nose on that Ferrari, the thumb tip, and it just half spun the car slightly, and we lost all the momentum down the straight. As 1 lap later, Vettel is now all over the back of us. Ricciardo, as you can see, is just starting to pull away, and as I said, the ultra softs were good for a couple of laps, but after that they've just fallen away, and we haven't even hit 50% wear on them, so the pace has dropped away as Vettel is now going up the inside into the hairpin. Again, we get caught napping, but we try a slightly different tack of holding it all the way around the outside as Vettel is squeezing us onto the grass. Come on, Seb, give us some space, but we're in the slipstream here, and I feel a lot more confident of getting the position back now than I did 1 lap ago on Ricciardo. As you can see, we flicked to the inside, no DRS, but you wouldn't know because our straight line speed is pretty good, you'd have to say, and we retake 2nd place back in this Canadian Grand Prix as Ricciardo now sets a new fastest lap of the race. He did a 1:14, we did a 1:16. To put it into perspective of how badly we're losing pace here at the moment. As you can see, we hang it around the outside of Sebastian Vettel, and he just squeezes us onto the dirt and the dust. It's quite cheeky of Sebastian, but to be fair to him, we managed to get the inside. He doesn't squeeze us again going down this main straight, and we are able to easily take second place back because we're not letting Vettel go around the outside of the final chicane. He has a bad run through the chicane, so he can't challenge us into turn 1. Here we go then on lap 8. We've now got a virtual safety car. Here's why we have the safety car then. The two Haases and Kvyat have gone 3 wide into the final chicane and just made a monumental accident out of it here, and it's just caused a massive pile-up at the end of the lap. He's on board with Kevin Magnussen as the contact between the Toro Rosso and the Haas, and they both go into the wall. And yeah, not great. Team radio?
What the do you do?
So Kevin Magnussen clearly blaming Daniel Kvyat for that incident there. As the virtual safety car now ends at the start of lap 9, we've jumped the gun on the virtual safety car. We've actually gained a nice helping of time on Daniel Ricciardo, but sadly we just did not gain enough to be able to get in his DRS zone. As you can already see, he's starting to pull away as we're now catching Kvyat, who has a puncture. The virtual safety car's gone in, and Kvyat's still trundling around the lap with a puncture. So quite bizarre, really. The virtual safety car being out as short as it was, really, given that Kvyat was still trundling around as we just passed him there. Now on lap 11, I think we're about to come into the pit lane. Yes, we are. We're going to get rid of our option ultra soft tyres, and we're going to put on the soft compound tyres and hopefully get the undercut on our teammate, on Daniel Ricciardo. And this is we're running out of cards to play in our hand at the moment into trying to win this race now, because Ricciardo's just pulling away from us at the moment, and we just need anything here. We're trying everything we can to try and at least close the gap and maybe find some pace, because we had a decent pace on the fresh ultra softs at the start, but it was just as the tyre deck hit in, we just lost the pace. We're now being held up by Kevin Magnussen. He was moaning about Daniel Kvyat a few minutes ago. Now he's the one who's blocking the way, as Carlos Sainz in the other Toro Rosso has just picked up a puncture, which is not good for him. Ricciardo's come in for his pit stop now as we're about to pass Carlos Sainz. In fact, no virtual safety car again. And we're getting into our safety car window now. I was hoping that something would happen around lap 25 and we'd get a safety car and I could put a set of quick super softs or ultra softs on to go to the end. As here's Jenson Button's out of the race, and here is why. Coming into turns 3 and 4, he's binned it. Jenson Button has made an uncharacteristic error as we're on board with the front wing of Daniel Ricciardo, who was coming to lap him. And I'm not sure whether that was because of the blue flags or not, but it's almost like JB almost got frightened out of the way and into the wall he went, and there was no safety car. No safety car as Kevin Magnussen's out of the race. I was gutted there was no safety car, because I'm really desperate for a safety car to bunch the field up and maybe we can jump Ricciardo. As here's what's happened to K-Mag. He's had an engine failure at the end of the lap. And we're begging for a safety car and it just isn't coming. We're not going to get one. Oh wait, yes we are. The safety car has just come out with just 7 laps to go in this Canadian Grand Prix. As you can see, just a short jump later, we're overtaking under the safety car to get into the pit lane. We'll get away with it because we're coming into the pit lane, so we got a bit lucky there and a bit cheeky, but we're trying to gain time on Ricciardo because the MFD told me that we were going to come out in about 6th place. So hopefully now we're under safety car conditions and we were quite close to the pit lane when the safety car came out. We won't lose too many positions. We're going to lose out to Hamilton, who was actually catching us. The gap had stabilised around 6 seconds, but then all of a sudden it dropped to about 2 or 3 seconds, so he was catching us anyway, as we just re-emerge ahead of Kimi Raikkonen there in the Ferrari, and we're actually in 3rd place. But you wouldn't think we were in 3rd place, because here's Ricciardo, the race leader, and look at the amount of lapped cars between Ricciardo and Hamilton. We're in behind Hamilton, but there are so many lapped cars. There's about 6, maybe even 7 lapped runners between Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo. As you can just see here, the amount of lap cars there is. And the reason we wanted the safety car was to bunch up behind Ricciardo and get him on the restart, as the safety car is coming in now. But the problem is there's so many cars between us and Ricciardo. it's not going to make any difference. It's just not going to make any difference. We're going to need a miracle. Yes, we're on scrubbed ultra softs. Maybe we should have gone for the super softs to properly push, but we gambled on the ultra softs, a used set of ultra softs that we would have used in Q1. We did about 2 or 3 laps on them, so hopefully they'll be all right. As we're now coming in, as Kimi Räikkönen has an engine failure behind us on the safety car restart. Here's the replay of that. Just bam, right behind us. Had no idea until it popped up on the screen and realised that Räikkönen was behind us. As you can see, there's absolute carnage going on this restart with the lap runners all in the way as NASA jumps out of the way now. And we're going to try and dive bomb Daniel Kvyat because we've got to jump Hamilton. We've got to get past Hamilton. And not going to lie, the ultra softs aren't feeling the best at the moment. I think we had 2 brand new sets of super soft, and I think just the lap counter just caught us off guard as we're diving past cars and we actually hit the wall on the entrance to turn 3 there. So we're pushing the limits as we're trying to gain on these guys. We're now behind Rio Haryanto, who's up into 15th place, having a decent race as Haryanto. I think he started 16th, so he's done well to maintain pace. Manners updates in Monaco, definitely working very well for them here in Canada, as we're right behind Hamilton now. I'm not sure if DRS is back or not. I don't think it is because it's the first lap on the restart as Raikkonen's car is actually still at the final chicane, and we want them to clear that car ASAP because we want to get past Hamilton down the straight, and we can't, at the moment we're not going to be able to overtake into the final chicane, and we've come out of the hairpin a lot quicker, and we're in the slipstream of Hamilton here are the yellow flags, but look how much we're gaining. Come on, clear the car. Oh yes, they've cleared the car just in time, and we're going to go up the inside of Hamilton into the final chicane. Raikkonen's car disappears just in the nick of time, and we don't lose any time at all in overtaking Lewis Hamilton, and Ricciardo's 4.8 seconds up the road, and with just 3 laps to go in this race. Can we catch Daniel Ricciardo, our teammate, and win this Canadian Grand Prix? We've saved plenty of fuel under the safety car, as here's the move up the inside of Hamilton. The green flags come out just in the nick of time, and we don't get an illegal overtake on our fellow countryman in the Mercedes. Now we're on lap 33. There's 3 lapped cars going side by side into the final chicane. It's Grosjean and Gutierrez again, this time with Nico Hülkenberg, who's down in 12th, and we just about managed to get past all of them. That could have been very nasty indeed, as DRS is now enabled on this penultimate lap, but Ricciardo has extended the lead to 5.5 seconds, and I don't think we're going to catch him. The ultra softs haven't worked for us here. They haven't given us the gains we would have wanted, which is really annoying because they should be quicker than very old soft compound tyres, but it is what it is. And here we are on the final lap as we're coming into the final chicane for the final time, past the wall of champions. Daniel Ricciardo wins the Canadian Grand Prix for the 2nd time in his career. We finish P2. It's a good race for us here in Montreal.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Well, the gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Well, lots of drivers impressed me here today, Crofty, but I'd say the one who impressed me the most was Esteban Gutierrez.
So Gutierrez gets driver of the day for whatever reason. Don't know why. Shouldn't have been him. Should have been probably Pascal Wehrlein for me. Driver of the day in the points yet again for Manor Racing. Ricciardo wins, though, from 6 seconds from us. Lewis Hamilton is 7th to 3rd, so even he's a contender for driver of the day. Vettel is 4th, a disappointing race for him. It just hasn't been his championship so far. Rosberg 5th, Massa 6th, Perez 7th, Bottas 8th. Wehrlein, as I said, a very impressive 9th, and Alonso gets a point for McLaren in 10th. Hülkenberg, nowhere to be seen. We saw him in about battling the 2 Haases, so I think he finished around 13th. did Nico Hülkenberg after a brilliant qualifying. As you can see, a lot of cars got lapped in this race because of that collision that brought out the virtual safety car early on. There was the field got spread so much, like half the field was on one side of the track and the other half was on the other, so it meant that for guys like Gutierrez and Grosjean, even with the safety car, it was no good because they'd been lapped. They got lapped by Ricciardo and their race was over pretty much. Here, their race was over pretty much, and it's a bit of it's a shame really for them. But it means that Pascal Wehrlein gets in the points, so that's good for Manor. Drivers' Championship, our lead's been cut down to 9 points, but look at that, it's just a 2-horse race at the moment. Raikkonen, 46 points behind. Ferrari, nowhere. They're absolutely nowhere. They're not too far away either. It's so frustrating for Ferrari, and it's frustrating for me, because I need them to be taking points off Ricciardo. I'd rather have Raikkonen or Vettel win, Ricciardo finish second and me third, rather than having a Red Bull 1-2 with Ricciardo leading, because we lose more points that way, because of the gap between first and second is 7 points compared to like 3 points between second and third. But it is what it is, and it means we're romping it in the Constructors' Championship. We're 89 points clear. Mercedes, they're out of it pretty much already. It's very much even Ferrari are getting a bit distant already, and we're only 7 races into this season, so. Red Bull will most likely win the Constructors' Championship. We have the fastest car, so fair enough, I guess. Here are the resource points we got anyway. I think we're going to spend them in a minute. Anyway, but nearly 2,000 resource points, so it's nearly how much we had at the end of last season, so it just shows how much we've saved up over the course of this season. I don't want to upgrade the car too much, that's the thing as well. As look at this in the rivalry. Look at this in the rivalry. We've had a clean sweep. And we've got a nice gap to Kimi Raikkonen now as we head into Baku. So hopefully we can win this rivalry. Could you imagine? I can't remember the last time we won a rivalry. Was it when we beat Vettel in Singapore? Might have been. But it's been a long time anyway since we won a rivalry. Career score. Here you go. Compare it. I don't even compare it with anyone else's, but there you go. There's the career score. And but yes, that was the Canadian Grand Prix. If you did enjoy it, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you're new, of course. Because this season, you may think it's a bit boring at the moment. Although we've been very consistent this year so far. Blimey, 6 consecutive podiums, not bad at all. But at the British Grand Prix at the end of Silverstone, I've been informed that we should get contract offers, and that's when the season is really going to spice up. But until Baku, it's always a race to be feared, I suppose, because it is quite it's a challenging track. I crashed out of that race in ILR just on Saturday after we could have had a decent result. So there is work to be done at Baku for next week. So guys, do hang around for that, because that is going to be a good race. I'm going to have to record that any second now. So enjoy it. As I said, subscribe if you're new. I make content every Saturday, so don't go anywhere. I will see you in Azerbaijan. Goodbye.